Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this slightly different video. There was a show, it's the first time it's ever aired. I don't think it's going to be a weekly thing, but it was called The State of the WWE Universe, and what it was a build-up for Survivor Series. So really the meat of the show had Mick Foley and Steph on the one side, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon on the other. Didn't appear that these guys were ready at the start of the show, so they brought in Paul Heyman. I think that was probably planned, to tell the truth, because obviously one of the biggest matches, if not the biggest match on the card, is Lesnar against Goldberg. So it was Renee Young and Paul Heyman that kind of opened up the broadcast. What I would say is I don't understand why they don't use Corey Graves. More than that though, Tom Phillips. You know, Renee Young's meant to be SmackDown, and I know that, like, you know, you've got SmackDown and Raw represented here, so why wasn't it Tom Phillips and Renee Young? I don't understand why it was only Renee Young. And also, if ever they need someone, does Scott Stanford do the Raw pre-show? Do you know, I haven't seen a Raw pre-show in ages, so I honestly don't know who does that, but I think it used to be Scott Stanford. But yeah, I didn't understand, I couldn't understand why it was just Renee Young. But anyway, Paul Heyman did a great job. Great job. He actually did a better promo on this than he did on Raw, because what he was saying is, did you see how everyone just walked into the trap that we set? They were eating out of our hands, and Renee Young was like, no, not really. You know, do you want to explain what makes you say that? And Paul Heyman was saying that they'd built Goldberg up. You know, they had made the crowd chant Goldberg, and they tried to do that on purpose. And the fact that, you know, they were getting like the security involved, and they were making Goldberg feel like he was $1 million. And he was saying like that they had helped build Goldberg up to the point where he now really honestly believes that he can beat Brock Lesnar, and he can't, and he won't, and he will be conquered. And it was all part of a master plan, and I really enjoyed it. I love the psychology of it all, I really do, which is why I was annoyed during parts of Raw this week. And actually I talk about it in the Raw review. I don't understand that backstage segment where, you know, Seth's been absolutely destroyed and humiliated by Jericho and Kevin Owens, and now they're meant to just put that to one side for Survivor Series. I don't get it. I don't understand why Jericho is trying to be a good co-captain and is trying to buy like a scarf for Seth Rollins. I don't get why Seth isn't just literally throwing the box in Jericho's face. And as I said in my Raw review, he's kind of looking at the scarf going, yeah, I'm not really a scarf person. It's like, what is going on? What is going on? That's not what should be happening. This is it's meant to be the real world, you know? And I don't like that, because for me that is very obvious that's not what would happen. Whereas I really enjoyed this from Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman just doing a great job of just going, you know, I've been fantastic, haven't I? Thank you, Mr. Heyman. Every time that Renee wouldn't say thank you or congratulate him on a great comment, Paul Heyman would be like, thank you, Mr. Heyman. That's a fantastic insight, Mr. Heyman. And Renee Young, you could see, was like getting a bit flustered. And I think she was very happy when that segment finished, but it was good work from Heyman. Then that led us on to the main part of it, the meat of it, and that was Shane and Daniel and Steph and Mick. And really the big thing for me on this, Mick Foley, you've got to love him, right? Because he's such a nice guy, and he comes across like a nice guy, and he speaks with such passion. And when he's talking, you know, you do want to see where it's going to go. But he just goes off on tangents. You know, he got asked the question, would you like to work with Daniel Bryan in the future? And his answer was rambling. And it was like, am I allowed to talk about... And he looked like he was about to cry. And he was like, am I allowed to talk about this? You know, I've written a book and I've written my memoirs, and I just think she's such a great person, and great really is a word that's overused. And he starts talking about how he learns from Steph every day, and how, you know, it had nothing to do with Daniel Bryan or Shane or the question. He just completely went off on one. And he did it a few times. You know, he was talking about socks and charity work and Connor's Cure and all this stuff. And Steph, to her credit, constantly kept going, look, it's all about Survivor Series. We know how this ends, don't we, Mick? And it was like, and he seemed distracted and gone at times. And it's a real sorry state of affairs to see him that way, because I just don't think he can do the job. I don't think he can do the job. I think that he needs to be focused. He needs to stay on script. He needs to really be kind of walked through the segments, because... And Daniel Bryan made a mistake. Daniel Bryan was talking to Mick Foley and said to Mick Foley, you know, you say that you chose to be a general manager. Well, didn't you walk away from WWE before? You know, wasn't you a general manager before? I seem to recall you popping up in TNA. It's like, wow, I can't imagine, with everything that's been going on, that they are allowing TNA to be mentioned. And Daniel Bryan mentioned the main competitor, not really competitor, but you know what I'm saying. But Daniel Bryan mentioned TNA, and yeah, you know, and again, you know, I think it was Steph that jumped in and went, look, we need to bring this back. This is about Survivor Series. And it's just like, it was amazing how often the conversation went off. You know, they were talking about the brand split, and of course they were, because, you know, this is SmackDown Live against Raw. And there were some really good points made, you know. They were talking about how it's the land of opportunity on SmackDown Live, and I think Mick Foley was saying, well, you say that, but it was our women that headlined a show before yours. And Shane came back and was like, yeah, because your women had a year of TV coverage to build up their profiles. You know, you look at the strides that Carmella and Alexa Bliss have made since they've been on SmackDown Live. And another good point was made as well about, you know, Shane's taking someone's place. But Daniel was saying, you know, look, Miz had an opportunity to make the team. He had a match and he lost that match. So he's not on the team for that reason. The reason that Shane was selected is that we need a leader out there. And plus, you know, Shane will do crazy things on a level on par with anyone that we have. You know, you need someone that's going to be all in. And Shane is definitely all in all fairness. And it was really intriguing, you know. Really intriguing, because I find that when it's the kind of authority that sits down and talks, things, you know, storylines do advance and things do happen, and at times not great, but at times really interesting. There was another bit interesting where Shane said about going around Mom's house. Can't wait to go around Mom's house and have dinner and look at you knowing that, you know, it was my brand that beat yours, something along those lines. It's like, have Linda and Vince split up? What's Mum's house all about? Is there a dad's house and a mum's house? Well, I didn't get that bit, because it's news to me if Vince and Linda have split. Honestly, I don't know if I've missed it from a few years ago or something, but that has completely passed me by. So yeah, you know, it's it was really interesting. As I say, I don't think this is going to be a weekly thing, but I did find it interesting, and I think that actually it should be not a weekly thing, because I think we already have something like it in Talking Smack. But I think it's really interesting when the authority gets a platform to talk about the show and about decisions that have been made, and maybe reveal a few more things about themselves or storylines, who they like, who they don't like, what they thought worked, maybe the direction that they're thinking of going. And in the past, we used to get a very small bit of that, and it used to be in the ring, and it used to open Raw, and it used to frustrate us all. Because you tune into Raw, you want to see the storylines advance, but you want to see action as well. I think this is a much better platform for it. So I enjoyed this state of the WWE Universe thing. I would like to see something. I don't know how they make it work with Talking Smack though, but I would like to see something similar going forward, and it not just be for Survivor Series, which I think this is. But yeah, cool. And obviously we've got a new show as well, that 205 Live, which I think might be tonight, Tuesday, as you're watching this, if you're watching this on Tuesday. But yeah, it's I think that's tonight, so I need to look at that, because I don't know what time it's on, how long it's on for, what's actually happening other than it's the cruiserweights. But I will do a review of that. So yeah, if you, please give the video a like if you liked it. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm sure you can tell there's loads of videos on the way. We've got SmackDown to review, we've got Survivor Series to preview, 205 Live. I've got a toy hunt that's in the works at the moment. We've got, well, a load of figure reviews that we need to do. Yeah, there'll be full take NXT reviews, takeover previews and reviews, Survivors. Jesus Christ, I'm not going to get any sleep. But I love it, so it doesn't matter. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Really do appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.